Hi everyone, this is Denise with Wondubar Crafts. Today I'm making this video to show off this Wondubar junk journal that I made for my niece Allie. Hi Allie, how you doing? Hope you really like your journal. And this also happens to be my very first YouTube video. And before I begin explaining the journal, I really want to give a shout out to all the YouTubers that make these videos. It has been a 3-day journey so far just to get to this point between camera angles, dog barking in the background, trying to figure out on my computer how to splice and cut all these little videos together, and then getting to the very end and thinking I was done to realize I was not quite there yet. So double thumbs up to all you YouTubers. Appreciate all the hard work you guys do, and I do realize it is a lot of hard work for you guys to produce these videos for us to watch. Anyway, back to the journal. So this particular journal took me about a week from start to finish, and that includes the planning process, selecting my fabrics, selecting my papers, all my digital downloads, my embellishments. And it is all handcrafted from front to back. I made my own. I did not use a book binder or an old book binder for this. I actually made my own with cardboard, some thicker cardboard, and some cardstock. And but everything else in it is sewn in. The specials are all hand sewn in. Fabric is all sewn together by me. This journal is a 9-inch high by a 5.5-inch wide by a 1.5-inch back. And it was a lot of fun to make. So let's get started. Okay. So when I chose the fabric for this binder, I remembered that I had purchased this fabric to make a skirt, and originally when I had seen it, I had seen this portion on the bolt, and I really thought, oh, that would make a really nice skirt. So I bought it, got it home, and realized that it had this huge 9-inch Eiffel Tower on it, and there is no way. I'm a curvy kind of gal, and I personally don't think that this kind of large print looks good on me. So I ended up throwing it into my fabric bin and decided, well, I'll either make a quilt with it later or I'll find another project for it. And then when my mother told me that my niece wanted a journal, I remembered I had this fabric and said, oh, this fabric. So here you go, Allie. Here's your Eiffel Tower. And as we get into the journal, you'll see why Paris and the Eiffel Tower and France altogether is significant to her. I chose a really nice sparkly, I think it's like an Indian flower print for the back binder, and I hope you can kind of pick up how it sparkles. But I thought that would kind of break the color so it wasn't all one fabric all the way around. And then for the back, I had some lace ribbon that I got at Walmart, and I tea stained it. And she can either use it for a placement, a bookmarker, but chances are she'll just use it for the little dangly. That's really what it was intended for to begin with. Okay. The corners, all four of the corners have these little book corner embellishments, and those are a Tim Holtz ideology that I got from Hobby Lobby. I bought them a little bit ago and wasn't sure if I was going to use them or how they would even work or how they would end up looking and if they would even stay on the book. And so I decided to experiment with them, and they're actually quite easy to install and quite secure. And the buckle I got also at Hobby Lobby in the sewing department. I think I paid like $8 or $9.99 for it, but it's part of their Sewology collection. And so I glued it onto the fabric and then I sewed it on there for extra durability. Okay, so let's take a look inside. That's where all the great things are. Alright, so for the back binder, the front and the back of the book, I chose some just some simple matte paper. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It's just crafting paper that has some maps on there. And I made a little pocket with a nice piece of ribbon. And I put a little card in here so she knows this is a personal card, a note for her from me. And there are 5 separate specials in here, and each one comes from a different crafter. They were all digital downloads from Etsy, and in the description block below I will list the link to where I got them from. I am a firm believer of do unto others, and that just doesn't just apply to just behavior, but in all things. And so I have no problem sharing my craft, and these individuals have done a lot to share theirs, and I think it's worthy. They are most certainly worthy of shout outs. So this first special came from Nik the Booksmith, and I really like her stuff. She's got some really pretty journaling, and she's got a ton of YouTube videos. Look her up on YouTube. She's got some really good ideas on making journals and making some of your own papers, paper designs, and she is just a crafty lady. So anyway, I made a little pocket in the front and I printed these out on some cardstock just so she would have a real quick, let me grab it so I can just jot it real quick instead of having to thumb through the journal for the specific page on it. And Nik did this whole journal, the planner portion of it, around this bird, and I really liked the bird, so Okay, as you can see, I printed this off 6 times, front and back, so she would have 12 full months. And I hand sewed each of these specials in, and I just did a 5-hole for this one. And I really got to tell you, I've done a couple journals, and doing anything that is about 9 inches or larger, you really want to, the 3 stitch is great for smaller ones or thinner journals, but this one, because there is over 100 pages, there's 100 full-size pages, and I didn't even count how many smaller bits that are in there, but there are over 100 pages of paper in here. So I really needed a stitch that was sturdy, so I did a 5-hole stitch. It's just a straight stitch. There are YouTube videos out there that show you some more decorative stitches, but since I wasn't showing the stitches on the back binder, I just went ahead and did a straight stitch. And I keep my strings long so I can, number one, embellish them, but if I'm just afraid that cutting them short, over time, opening and closing the book, you pull on these strings, and I'm just afraid that it would pull the knot through, and of course it's going to loosen the papers up. So by leaving them long, you can give them a little tug every once in a while to keep them tight. And as you can see, I did do some tea and coffee stain paper. So, and that explains why my fingers, if you're looking at my fingers going, oh my gosh, clean your fingers, lady. It's because I did some tea staining today on some plain paper, so it takes a day or 2 for the stain to actually come off. I've tried vinegar and water, and I just can't get it off. So if anybody has a really good suggestion on how to get it off, please comment below. So this ends, well actually here's the back cover, and here's the flap or the pocket that I made that surrounds the whole signature. And I put a little picture of Allie and her wedding picture in there just to have as a keepsake, as a reminder. Okay, so now the second signature here is a Vintage Paris by Dreams, etc. And there are a couple little pages in here by Nik the Booksmith. But I gotta say, I really liked her color blending in here, and I'll explain why as we go through it. But the significance of the Paris is that Allie and her, at the time, boyfriend, who is now her husband, took her to Paris because she always wanted to go. And so they went on a vacation, and we all kind of had this funny feeling that he was going to propose, and he kept saying, no, 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 I'm not. But he did. And so Paris will always be a reminder, I mean, a lifelong memory for her. So I thought this would be a perfect signature to put in here for her Paris. All about Paris, vintage Paris, that kind of stuff, since she liked it so much. But I just did some fancy little embellishment on there, and so let's go through the pages. Okay, this was what I was talking about with the color scheme. Normally with these vintage and antique style papers, you'll see a lot of pinks and rouge and like beiges and browns and blacks to make them look old and antique. But she has managed to make this green just so vibrant, but so antique-y and vintage looking. So what a great job, Dreams, etc. And if you guys get a chance to go to get it, to print it, to buy it, do it, because it was well worth it. It prints so beautifully. Okay, so this, I found some LaFleur, I think I'm saying that right, LaFleur paper to put in here, and I'm really not sure what the significance of LaFleur and France is. I'm pretty sure that when Allie sees this, she will explain it to me, because she's pretty knowledgeable on France and French things and Paris and all that stuff. Okay, so in here I put a little pocket so that she could put some cards and stuff like that in here, just some more little note card paper, but also another place for pictures, and I have to show this off. This is the picture of, let me get it straight here. This is the picture of Allie and her husband, Troy. Hey, Troy. In Paris when they got engaged. And they did this in front of the Eiffel Tower. And I don't know if they set their camera on a timer or if they got someone to do it, but this is just a fabulous picture. It's so beautiful. But when I asked her, I said, send me a picture, your favorite picture of Paris. This is the one she sent me. And then, of course, I also included another wedding picture. And this is her and her husband and my cute mother. Isn't she beautiful? She's so sweet, my mother. She's a total sweetheart. Okay, so third special. Anyone who knows Allie knows that she likes wine, and she likes to do a little wine tasting from now and again. And so by no means is she a wino, but she is a winey, and that is a good thing. She's quite knowledgeable. She worked for a local wine store, and so she learned a lot about local wines here in Missouri and some international and other wines made in other states. And so she's kind of our go-to gal when we want to know like what kind of wine goes well with this kind of dish. So I thought would be really nice to put in here. And this particular paper was downloaded by CalicoCollage, and it's called For the Love of Wine. And I really like all the burgundies and the wine colors that are in it. Okay, and here she had some little tickets that you could print out, and kind of like a wine tasting ticket, I guess. So I added it in here, and then she also had these nice little cards. So I printed them on some cardstock, and they're all wine related. And on the back, I have a line stamp. So I just stamped some lines on the back. So if she went out to a restaurant or went to a wine tasting, she could write down the type of wine that it was and what she liked about it. So if she wanted to find it later, she could. Okay, and here there's some additional tickets that I had printed out, and I had just punched a hole in here and put a one of these little, I call them a kilt pin, because my mother is Scottish, so, and these are the style pins that they use to hold their kilts together, but I guess some people call them a safety pin or a safety fastener. But anyways, I had originally just had them hanging off here, and had a little tassel, and I was kind of concerned that they might get a little damaged or pull off the ring because they were just paper. And I was thinking, how am I going to reinforce these? I got thinking, and I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, it came to me an aha moment. I have a laminator, so I just used some ID sized, put them in there and laminated them for extra durability. And then on the back of this one, I just had some elastic ribbon and just glued it in here so she could shove some papers in here, or anything that she wanted to put in there, she could. Okay, the fourth special, I like to call it the Ballerina Mix, because there's quite a few different digital downloads from here. This one here is from Everything Finara, and I hope I said that right. If she's watching, please correct me if I said it wrong, and I apologize if I did. Vintage by Me, and there's a page in here that my daughter Colette drew. Hi, Colette. Yeah, it's been a frustrating video, as you can see. I've been on the phone with her going through this. Just, she understands. I've been so frustrated trying to make this video. And she's been helping me out a little bit. But, and then a couple other things that I had found online. So let's go ahead and go through this one. And this one is Vintage by Me that I was talking about earlier. And there were some little cards and envelopes for them. And I just had some shimmery cardstock, and I just printed on the back side. And then I put a little elastic ribbon here also. Okay, this is the page that my daughter Colette drew. Hi, Colette. And I gotta tell you, she is an extremely talented artist, and she doesn't give herself enough credit. She has gone to school for, and she's going to correct me if I say this wrong, I know she is, I think it was computer or video game design, something like that, along those lines. But anyway, she is an extremely talented artist. She not only draws, but she makes some other little crafty things, and of course she designs and does video game designing. So, and she just doesn't give herself enough credit, and she has really got it going on. You got it going on, Colette. Come on now. Anyway, so she designed this, and I did ask her if I had her permission to scan it and use it in this journal? And she said, sure, Mom, no problem. On the back side here, I have this fabric I found in my bin, and it is about 15, 20 years old. I think I got it when I was stationed in Japan, and although it's a little girl ballerina, it's kind of little girly, I thought, you know, ballerina, it's cute, and it's vintage, because isn't it 20 years or something makes it vintage? 10 years, 20 years makes it vintage. So it is old fabric, and I thought it fit well in here. Okay, and then I gotta tell you guys, I have seen these at Hobby Lobby and at Joann's, and of course you can get them in different sizes, and this one's pretty dainty. But I was looking, and I was going to buy some there, and then I happened to be in the Dollar Tree and spotted them. I got 50 of these for $1, right? So anybody who knows, that's a deal. That's a deal. Considering that I think they're like $3 or $4 in either Hobby Lobby or Joann's. So I saved myself quite a bit of money, which, you know, when you go into a craft store, you could go in thinking, oh, okay, I saved myself a couple dollars, or I'm just going to go in there and just buy one singular thing, and I cannot do that. When I go into a craft store to buy one singular thing, it's worse than going to Walmart. I end up spending like $100, like nothing in there. So I only go when I absolutely have to, because I know I'm going to end up overspending. And I think they know that. And I really, really liked this particular ballerina. And the reason is she looks like she's one of those Southern Belle and I want to say the period looks like 1700, maybe 1800s time frame. Maybe. Okay, so, and I really liked this one. This is part of the Everything Finara. And I really liked, when I seen this, it put me in mind of the jewelry boxes that that you can get, you know, little girls typically have, and some, I know some ladies keep them throughout the years. You know, you open them up and the little ballerina pops up and she spins around with the music box. And although this isn't a music box, I just thought it looked so much like it, and it was just so pretty. Okay, and on to our last special. Now this particular special, it doesn't have a significance per se, but because it is a very vintagey looking digital download and special, that I decided to go ahead and add it in here. It's called Vintage Butterflies by Engrapho. I hope I said that right. Engrapho. And I like that it's really antique-y and vintagey. And I just added a little bit of ribbon, the same type of ribbon that's on that front envelope on the front cover. And in here, there's a little story to be told. In this envelope is a little list that Allie made when she was in elementary school. I happened to be in my mom's basement looking for some old books that I could use the binders for and recycle the paper for, some additional journals. And I came across this journal and I asked her about it, and my mom had told me that she had taken Allie to the post office with her one day, and she had seen the journal, and she asked, Grandma, will you buy this for me? And of course my mom did, and she took it home and she started journaling in it. And the name of the journal, she had named it Mother Daughter Things to Do kind of thing. And so I asked her, can I take this page out of there? Because I really want to save it and put it in here for you. And I thought it would be a wonderful keepsake for her. And just some of these things are so cute, like have a pillow fight, show mom all my funny voices. But anyway, she wrote this about my sister and her mom, Heather. Hi, Heather. Hope you're watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I just thought this would be a great thing to store in here, and maybe they can reminisce and make themselves a little bucket list for later that they could do together. Okay, this page, I just did some little embellishments on it, and I gotta say, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these. I found these container of little stick-on alphabet letters, and they were on sale, marked down actually, at Hobby Lobby for like 49 cents each. So I got these in gold shimmer, and a silver, and I chucked them in my little crafting box and said, I don't know what I'm ever going to use them for, but I'm sure I'll end up finding something to use them for. And of course, us crafters always find something to use it for, right? That's why we got to go out and buy it. Okay, and I am a firm believer that you should not make a journal without at least putting a little scripture in there. So here's some Psalms paper for you. Here's Allie. Okay, and then that was the last special. And then on the back, I put a little, I found these little stick-on embellishments, and I found this one with a shoe. And Allie loves high-heeled shoes. And so I thought, perfect. Here's your shoe, Allie. Here's your shoe. Okay, and then on the back, what I did was I made a little notepad myself. And so I took about 15 of them, and I put a little piece of cardstock on the back, and then I glued to the top. And so I just made it myself. If you guys are interested in knowing how or learning how to make these, let me know. In fact, I might just go ahead and do a little quick tutorial, and I promise it'll be quicker than this video, on how to make these. Okay, well that was the journal. Thanks guys so much for hanging out with me and tolerating this long video. Allie, I really hope you like your journal. I hope you have a lot of memories that you can write down in here and use, and make some more. And when you fill it all up, then I'll consider making you a new one. I hope you guys all liked seeing this video. Of course, it was my first, so please be kind in the comments. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or tips, please make sure you list them below for me. And I just want to say this was a lot of fun, even though it was quite a long journey to get to the end of this. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Yahweh bless.